It's about knowing in life we are going to face setbacks. They might be emotional, they might be mental, they might be physical, right? Just think, if I think back to the last 3 years that I've been in Riyadh, there have been many, many positives, but there have also been inevitably some setbacks. That ability to bounce back, that's resilience. And that is what Vision 2030 is about. It's not just building big buildings, mashallah, which I see coming up in the financial district every day.
Traffic, that's why I'm late.
Sahma, that's a word I learned very early on in Riyadh.
Yeah.
It's about building the resilience of people.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, dear viewers, and welcome to another episode of Podcast Show. I am very excited and interested, and I'm going to be educated as well as probably a lot of the audience as well also too about our guest today. My guest today is Dr. Sophia Pathai. She is a longevity doctor. Doctor, welcome. Such an honor to have you with us.
Ahleen Waleed. Pleasure is all mine.
هلا بك.
أنا جدا سعيدة أكون معكم.
She speaks even. She looks. You look Saudi too, by the way.
Alhamdulillah. Alhamdulillah.
You have that. How do you learn your Arabic?
والله شلون لازم سكينة في الرياض الحمد لله من تلاوة 3 سنوات. We have to.
Man, your Arabic's. I mean, in 3 years, I have a lot of friends 3 years. They didn't go to that level, but that's very, very interesting. Doctor, I want to ask you about longevity. I mean, if I may, I'm not exactly, in the medical field very high. What does longevity doctor mean specifically?
Yeah, Waleed, thanks for asking. So I think the test I use, I call it the mum or the mom test, right? Because what I see now in so many news feeds is that everyone is talking about longevity. And my mother's always sending me articles or newsreels about longevity and living longer. So I think it's a word that is on many people's lips.
Okay.
It's in everyday usage, we talk about longevity meaning living longer.
Yeah.
But I would ask you, when you think about living longer, let's say, inshallah, you live to a very nice old age. What are you thinking about when you're living longer? Are you thinking about the number, or are you thinking about what you're going to be doing?
That's a very, very, very great point, and probably, what I'm going to be doing.
Yeah, right. So that is living longer and healthier.
Yeah.
So what we just talked about before, the living longer, is your lifespan. So lifespan is the number of years on the clock, like a car, right? So every birthday you have, that's your lifespan.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm imagining you're 21, for example.
Thank you. My sister said, Walid, you look you're 40, you act 30, and you act like you're 10. So,
So lifespan is,
close,
number of years on the clock. Health span is the number of healthy years that you have, right? So when you're talking about living longer and what you're doing, I bet you're imagining doing something fun, right, that you want to do, right? Everyone has something that they imagine. Maybe for someone it's playing golf, it's traveling, it's playing with their grandkids. That is not a reflection of their lifespan. That's their health span. And actually here, if we think about lifespan, in Saudi Arabia, just in maybe the mid-1940s, the average lifespan, right, number of years on the clock, was around 46.
Oh, my God.
Right?
Really? That's in 1940s?
Or like 1940s, 1950s, yeah. Now, if we fast forward to around now, to the latest data, around 2020, 2025, Alhamdulillah, it's a lot higher. It's around, I think, anywhere between 76 to 78 years.
Okay.
Right? So there's been massive improvements in lifespan, right? Number of years living longer. And that's due to a variety of factors. That's improvements in sanitation, improvements in infectious diseases, right? People aren't dying of infections nowadays, alhamdulillah. So that's a variety of different factors that help people live longer. What's happening right now in Saudi and a lot of other countries is that people are spending maybe at least 10 to 15 of those years where they're not actually so healthy. So can you imagine from the age of 65 to 75, you have a longer lifespan, but those years might be spent in poorer health. And so we refer to that as the health span gap.
Yep.
And in Saudi, in India, even in America and in the UK, that gap can be anywhere between 10 to 15 years. So part of my mission to be here in Saudi is to try and close that health span gap. And I can't think of a more transformative place where we can really have an opportunity to do that.
You took me to a lot of different places, to be honest, with this conversation. Especially if when you asked like a great question. You're like, what do you want to do? You know, is it the numbers? What do you want to do? And you're right. A lot of us, they live to 80, but the last 10 years from the hospital, he cannot do what he wants. He cannot play with his grandkids if he has grandkids. Yeah. And your vision or your plan or your field, you know, your education is that to help improve and raise that number.
Inshallah.
Inshallah. I believe Vision 2030 did have a number, if I'm not mistaken, to expand that, you know, and they're definitely working on it. Are you part of it? Are you like, you know?
Well, you know, Waleed, the reason I'm here is simply because of Vision 2030. I can't think of a more transformative part of the world to be in where healthcare is not seen, or health is not seen as simply treatment, but transformation, right? Because let's think about health. Health is actually not just the absence of disease, right? That's not health. Health is a whole feeling of being well. That means being well in your body and in your mind, okay? And I think Saudi Arabia is really taking a leap to understand that healthcare is not reactive. Actually, what Saudi's doing is revolutionizing healthcare. Let me take you through that. So Vision 2030 is of course phenomenal. And it's anchored in, I believe, 3 key pillars, right? Which is creating, you know, an ambitious nation, a society that's full of vitality, and a thriving economy.
Yeah.
Right? So let's think about this, because all of that is actually rooted in not healthcare, but health, right? So firstly, let's think about this vibrant society. Actually, you need to build vibrant minds, right? Which are mentally well, which are healthy, which have a feeling of mental calmness, but also cognitive brain health, right? If you want to build a thriving economy, start by building movement in the people, getting them to move around. Maybe, you know, mashallah, on the metro right now. Start by building movement to get your thriving economy. And if you think about the ambitious nation, start by building the resilience to achieve that sustainability. And for me, actually, health is about resilience. And that's a word that I think many of us use in an everyday way, right? People use resilience as a way of bouncing back, right? Maybe if, let's say, you know, God forbid, a community has a problem, a building collapses, people say, oh, the community bounced back. They showed a lot of resilience. Or if someone's been in a relationship and it ends, people would say, oh, to that friend, you bounced back. You showed a lot of resilience. Actually, that's what we do as people, right? For our health, it's not about avoiding disease. It's about being resilient. It's about knowing in life we are going to face setbacks. They might be emotional. They might be mental. They might be physical, right? Just think, if I think back to the last 3 years that I've been in Riyadh, there have been many, many positives, but there have also been inevitably some setbacks. That ability to bounce back, that's resilience. And that is what Vision 2030 is about. It's not just building big buildings, mashallah, which I see coming up in the financial district every day.
Traffic, that's why I'm late.
Sahma, that's a word I learned very early on in Riyadh.
Construction, yeah.
It's about building the resilience of people. Because quite frankly, the GDP of a nation is not in the billions you're spending on buildings and infrastructure. It's in the infrastructure of people. It's in building a vitally joyful, happy, healthy citizens, because these are the people that are going to enjoy the fruits of Vision 2030. And so that's why I'm here, because there's an environment that really allows people who want to build in this area to build. And I came as a doctor, really, to Saudi Arabia, but I've now arrived as a builder. And I think that's what Saudi can do for you.
Oh my God, doctor, to be honest, you know, the way you describe Vision 2030, it's quite interesting, dynamic, clear, you know, and for sure also I think it emphasizes a lot about what it is, right? And you know, this is the first time where I'm with the guests where I really want to know more about what they're doing here. So tell me, what do you do here usually? Like, you know, how are you part, I would say, of this, and you know, what are you doing to help improve longevity?
Yeah. Well, firstly, I want to express my gratitude to be here. Alhamdulillah, عندي إقامة مميزة.
ما شاء الله. Deserved.
والله أمانة بس أشوفها تكليف مو فقط تشريف. It's an honor to have the premium residency, but it also means that I have a responsibility, and I hope I'm doing that by my actions every day. So let me tell you more about, you know, what being a longevity doctor means here. I've been fortunate to be part of Vision 2030, and I think what's integral in Vision 2030 are 4 key areas which interface with what I do. Firstly, you think about innovation and ingenuity. Saudi is the blueprint for that. So in healthcare, we are already embedded in that. And then institutions and investments. So what I've been able to do is play a role with the institution Evolution Foundation. And this was set up by His Royal Highness, the Crown Prince. It's a non-profit, and its mission is to extend health span for all. Not just in Riyadh or in Saudi Arabia, but across the world. And alhamdulillah.
That is quite interesting.
It's a phenomenal institution, and I was so lucky, alhamdulillah, to be appointed as the inaugural Vice President of Medicine.
MashaAllah.
And this really...
Vice President of MashaAllah.
Alhamdulillah.
Much deserved.
And I think this has provided the opportunity to build out and to chart new territory in medicine, because I think it's not really medicine, right? Because actually health span and living longer is not a medical problem or a medical topic. It's actually something that we should all be thinking about. It actually, from a business perspective, you could almost say it's an asset, right? Longevity is a real estate asset. We can go into that later. Longevity is an investment in yourself and for businesses. Longevity is for you and for me and for our parents and for our children. So I love to think that, you know, people say, oh, you're a longevity doctor, you must work in a hospital. Relax. Actually, it's everywhere else. And there are 2 reasons for this. First is...
That's what I thought, by the way, too. You know, so.
Well, let me challenge you then, because the first is that we're at this wonderful point of time in humanity where, you know, I mean, I think most people have some form of wearable or some form of smartphone where we're collecting data at an exponential rate that is telling us so much information. So we are understanding, we're going truly from analog to digital. And from a medical perspective, let me just think about when I was a junior doctor. If I wanted to understand your heart rate, how would I do that? I would listen with a stethoscope and put the stethoscope on the patient's chest. Now, my watch can tell me how fast my heart rate is, right? So I'm able to collect data in a digital manner. And Saudi is the catalyst, right? When I look at the healthcare platforms on my phone, it outrivals anywhere in the world, right? So we're collecting this phenomenal amount of data. but also we're at this point in time where we're able to learn so much about technology and biotechnology. And let me give you an example. When I was a medical student, when we thought about genes, right, that the proteins that express who we are, if you wanted to get a readout of that, it might take you millions of dollars and maybe a couple of weeks. And now you can get a test done probably by doing your saliva in a tube and getting a readout very quickly, right? So that proliferation of data and of science means that we are able to take healthcare outside of the hospital. And that's what's going to be so important. And that's what I've been leading my team to do.
Interesting. So it's all about like psychology, how you live your life, how you think.
Yeah.
This affects your longevity.
It's about taking medicine outside of the doctor, right? I have no ego about that, right? Doctors, we don't have to. I would far rather that a person takes accountability for their health. And I think what's important is that we can train the future healthcare professionals to think not about being a doctor as solving a problem, but about being the best version of yourself. Because let me ask you, Waleed, when's the last time you went to a doctor without talking about a problem?
Never. I never go to anyone without a problem. So,
So I think what we can do in health span medicine or as longevity doctors and through organizations like Evolution Foundation is to challenge that paradigm, right? Where actually you are able to access services to be your best self, to be your most vital self, because that's how you're going to contribute to the economy. That's how you're going to contribute to the well-being of your family. That's how you're going to contribute to being a good citizen of the world. So that's our mandate. And what I see in Saudi is that we're able to leverage not just, scientific institutions. What's amazing about Saudi Arabia in particular is His Royal Highness and Vision 2030 really took a systems design approach to the whole positioning of Vision 2030. By that, I mean, ordinarily, like I'm from the UK, if we think about healthcare, people would say, you've got to talk to this university that's very good in science, this university that's great in biotech, or this company who's doing something in science. It's all very siloed. I must say, in the last 3 years, my conversations have been with leaders in aviation, with leaders in real estate, with leaders in esports.
Wow.
So let me give you some examples, right? So esports, Ralph Reichert at the Esports World Cup is doing some phenomenal work. And we've talked about gaming.
Yeah.
And I would know very well that, maybe 60% of the Saudi population loves to play some form of esport. I think the best way to get people into looking after themselves longer and healthier is by doing things they love. So can you bring esports and health span together? Yes, you can. There are very many ways or techniques that you could bring to gamers to help them improve their health span. Maybe that's a subject for another episode.
Yeah.
But
I actually have a question set
go
for you,
ahead.
but I gotta ask you this. Do you believe that right now you're saying it's in the 70s, right? Like the average
Our lifespan,
lifespan. Do you believe that it will go higher? Do you think that that's possible? The number can go higher?
It will. And
It will.
I think recent research and data suggests that lifespan might increase even to over 100.
Really?
And I think that's very exciting,
Worldwide?
inshallah, in time. But I was at a conference in Hong Kong just last weekend, the Asia Pacific Longevity Summit. And one of the leaders asked the question, would you want to live over 100?
Yes. Can you afford to live over?
And would you be in good
Can the
health?
economy afford? Yeah, that's.
And you've raised an excellent point. Can
Yeah.
the economy afford you to live to over 100? And people talk about the silver economy, about older people living longer, and therefore maybe they need to be in the economy, or somehow the economy has to sustain them.
Yeah.
But I would argue, actually, it's more about having an evergreen economy. And Saudi color is, of course, green. So I think it's very pertinent that right now we think about improving not just our lifespan, but our health span. And I would say for anyone who thinks, they don't want to live for longer until they're healthier because they're thinking they've already got so many bad habits and how are they going to change that? Well, I came across a really interesting fact at that conference. So the world's oldest marathon runner was an Indian gentleman called Fauja Singh. And Allah yarhamo, he died, I think, a few months ago, and he was over 100, I think. he actually took up marathon running at the age of 83. So I would say for anyone out there who's listening, and to anyone, to you and me, it's never too late, right, to start your journey of health span. And it's not like magic medicine. Most of it is habits, creating new habits.
Well, you believe eventually it will happen. Eventually, lifespan will. The retirement age will be 80, now not 60, and eventually, with years, and the kingdom is leading. And by the way, you're a great speaker. You done podcasts or TV. I'm sure you've done lots of interviews.
Well, I'm not as proficient as you, Waleed,
No,
but
no.
I did host a podcast in ophthalmology for a while, a couple of years
wow.
back. So maybe
George,
that's why.
my friend, I said you're one of my best guests, but now this time I feel like I'm the student here, but it's fun. It's fun, educational, and that's a very, very interesting topic. Very interesting topic, to be honest. A lot of people speak about that and do life, and as you said, they do this. My man, come on, smoke. We're all gonna die eventually.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know what? I remember famous Al Pacino. And they asked him. He said, "We're all gonna die eventually." So I'll just continue. But doctor, I want to ask you about here in Saudi Arabia, right? Like you guys are doing such a phenomenal job. I mean, they bring some. They try to of course, recruit some of the best, high-end, of course, resources, individuals who can lead this project, right? You're the vice president, you're doing a great job. By how you're speaking to me, to be honest, I feel like you do believe it. I feel like you do understand it, and I can touch it as a, just as a normal individual. The viewer has his opinion and probably will be the same. What kind of plan do you have? Like, do you have like a future plan? You're like, you know what? Yeah, I'll stay here for about 3-4 years, take care of them, then I'll go to Hong Kong, I'll go to London. What do you got going on in your mind?
Alhamdulillah, I feel like the last 3 years in Saudi Arabia have taught me so much, not just about health span, but also about myself.
Okay.
And so I
By yourself.
Yes.
Someone like you, who's very well, noticed and thus learned a new thing about himself. That's very interesting.
Relax. I'll give you an example. You're very kind to say that, I come here as someone who's expert in the space, and it's a privilege for me to be here. But equally, I've learned so much from people in the kingdom. One really important sort of topic that made me change my whole life philosophy, in fact, was one of my team members. I won't embarrass her by name, but...
Feel free. That's what I do on my show,
Well, Munira is very highly educated, has a great background in health informatics. But what I learned is sometimes I would be very, hyper or wanted to get things done very quickly in any project. And if things didn't go the right way, it would upset me because I'm very driven to get to the next goal and to the next goal. And what she taught me is if something doesn't go the way you want it to, you say Alhamdulillah. Because it means that a better journey is on its way for you, or a better door is opening for you. So this profoundly changed the way I acted in my professional life, in other projects we were executing, but also in my personal life as a citizen or as a global citizen and as a resident of the kingdom. Rather than, if you're in, something's going not the way you want it to, you just take a step back.
Yeah.
So that's been a profound way that I think about my very existence. And so I can't think of a better place to be, quite frankly, in the world than the kingdom, because it not only allows me to fulfill my personal ambitions to bring health span to all, but it also allows me to learn a lot about myself and more about religion as well. So I'm very grateful for the opportunity to be here.
That's awesome.
So inshallah, I can stay for long.
We got to expand this episode, man. I'm taking my time, guys, here. Doctor, can I get like your, you gave your view about Vision 2030, and not just in your field. I think you just, but the whole vision and what you're seeing. What do you see here in Saudi Arabia? What are you seeing here in the kingdom? From people, the culture, how they're acting, you know, projects, professionalism, you know. What are you seeing? Frankly, like speaking.
I see maybe three things. I see ambition, that's healthy ambition. I see opportunity that is being created and that others are yearning to create. And I also see vitality. And it's the vitality which is so close to my heart, because health span and living longer at its very ethos is about vitality. It's not about just being healthy or knowing your macronutrients or knowing how much muscle you're or going to the gym. It's that very feeling of being alive and knowing you have a purpose. So I feel like right here across what I'm seeing are people who have purpose and are building vitality. And I'll give you a sort of an individual example of this. Again, reflecting of one of my colleagues at Hevolution. He works at the foundation. He understands what health span is about, right? Because he's every day hearing from us as the doctors and scientists. And he would come to my office and say, Doctora, why do we,
I like how you
Doctora?
say it like Arabic.
Doctora,
yeah.
Doctora, why is this so important? And we'd have these like very nice sort of office chats. And he smokes quite a lot. And he said, you know what, I'm going to quit. And of course, it's very hard for someone to do this, right? And so he said, but what else can I do? I said, just be kind. Firstly, be kind to yourself. And then think about something you can do and take up something you want to do because you might enjoy it. And he said, right, I'm gonna try and go to the gym. I said, yeah, just do something, just try it, just to see how you feel.
Yeah.
Let's fast forward 3 months now. This guy has been going to the gym nearly every day after the office. And he has a trainer, Igor, who guides him. And I don't see his muscle mass, but what I do see is someone who has really enhanced vitality, right? Because they made they chose to build a habit. They chose to be consistent. They chose to be curious. They chose to come to my office to discuss this. And they chose to have clarity, right? They wanted to learn about this because they know it's something that's not just for them, but for their family. And what I found astonishing is that he said to me, Doctora, I can't not do this now, because if I don't go to the gym, if I don't go and work out, I feel like something is missing. And so this for me is a great KPI of vitality and of what's going on here, because people are they're empowering themselves to take
And the
steps.
government's actually,
Exactly.
Sports Boulevard.
That's it. And so by enabling the individual to empower themselves to take these steps, but also when the kingdom itself and when the government is enabling that, then you have this catalytic effect where everybody is able to transform their life, right? And so, what you see at the individual level, he told me, well, I went to a wedding and my friends were saying, what's up? Because you just look different. And that's vitality. That's the catalytic improvement that I'm proud to be part of here.
MashaAllah, MashaAllah. If you designed a Saudi health span program at a scale, what are its core components and the first pilot would be?
It's something I think...
Did I jump? Did I just...
I think we're taking a jump from this individual who's taking it upon himself.
Did I shift the gear, yeah.
Right? And I think what you're saying is, what's the next level of how do you implement that at the population level?
Yeah.
Right? I think it has to happen in steps, and it can't be done alone, right?
Okay.
You need to work with other this systems design approach, right? With other institutions, with other innovators, and not just stick in your silo, which is why I love having discussions with maybe Tony Douglas from Riyadh Air, right? To say, why is health span important in aviation?
Yeah.
Or with John Pagano from Red Sea Global.
Oh yeah, John. My man.
We could argue that longevity is a real estate asset, right? Because think about King Salman Park, think about all the Red Sea, new sort of infrastructure. Can you build in infrastructure that allows people to to practice health span, to move around, right? To eat well, to be in an area that where their mind feels at rest, right? So any platform or pilot has to take into account all of these different sectors. And that's why Saudi Arabia is such a great place to test this, because it allows you to do this, right? So for me, a pilot is not just, can I build a longevity center and get people to come to it? It's taking that kind of cross-infrastructure approach and bringing these leaders and others along on this journey, and also understanding the population. Because I'll give you some interesting data, right? There was a study that was published in the journal Nature Aging. And this is a very well-known, respected journal in the medical field. And it got the global attention in the media because it highlighted maybe 2 areas in our life when we age more quickly. And maybe, sometimes, listeners or viewers might have woken up and thought, I suddenly feel really old today, right? It's happened to many of us, I suspect. It certainly happened to me. And what they found out in our life, in our chronological, years, there were 2 time points when you would suddenly feel like, I'm suddenly old. That was at the age of 44 and the age of 60.
Okay.
Right?
44 and 60.
Yeah. So, I mean,
that's where it
that's
begins.
where these dips could happen, which is really interesting. But when I looked at the paper and the research, I thought, hang on, where was this research done? It was done at Stanford University. Mashallah, this is, of course, a very
Huge university.
Exactly. And it was conducted on predominantly American people who lived in California. Now, I've been here long enough to know that if I tell anyone in Riyadh or maybe in the kingdom, I want you to get up at 5 and do a hike for 3 kilometers, and I want you to have your dinner by 6 in the evening. Is that Adi? No Adi. No one's going to do that ever, right? So this study...
تصحى الساعة 5 الصباح تسوي هايكينج ممكن تسويها ما تقدر
Relax, no Adi.
العشاء الساعة 6 Yep. Okay, you got your answer right away.
Thank you guys. Thank you guys.
It doesn't happen.
So, but this study was on these people in California who were doing this, right? So what does that tell me? That tells me that, mashallah, these guys are out at 5. Fajr, fine, we're up praying, that's great, but we're not hiking at 5. So these guys were doing whatever they needed to do, and that meant they had these aging blips at 44 and 60. But what about right here? What about in this part of the world? Are we basing all of our information on how we age and how quickly we aged based on data that's not from people like us? So for me, the next step in designing a health span program is to think about the data or the biomarkers, right, the markers of how we age from people like us. Because to me, it doesn't make sense, right? Why would I tell you, Waleed, you're going to age, God forbid, at 60, when the data came from someone who doesn't reflect your daily life or your genetic makeup? So for me, a huge part of what we need to do as society and as the kind of medical fraternity and as science is to collect data from people like us. So that's I would say, the national imperative. And then at the individual level, we need to create journeys where people feel like they want to do this. Because I've been here long enough to know as well that, everything's a trend, right? So if we opened a longevity center, inshallah, and we tell you we're going to measure all these fancy markers, maybe for 10 days, people would be like so excited, right? And then it's going to, calm down. But this is not a trend. Health span is not a trend, right? It's lazim. You've got to be in it every day, right?
It's coming, it's happening.
So how do we get people on a journey, like my colleague in the office who's going to the gym every day, who's changing his habits? How do we bring those people on that journey? So you can see this is a big mission, and I'm always looking for people who are willing to join me on this mission, because it's not just going to affect your health span, it's going to affect the health span of the kingdom and ultimately of the world.
Absolutely. Doctor, you lived here for 3 years now.
Alhamdulillah.
How do you see it? Do you see this is a place where, you can, get your longevity, enjoy yourself, do the things that you want to do to, to live the healthy or live. I'm not going to use the word healthy. Live the life that you suits you or fits you in your plan. And longevity, since you're obviously very big on it.
صراحة
صراحة
صراحة I
أبغى
can't.
أبغى الصدق. العلم الصدقي. نبي الصدق.
Well,
إيه.
صراحة I can't think of a better place to be for not just for me personally, but for a longevity doctor or for someone who wants to embark on this journey. Maybe for three core reasons. Firstly, we've alluded to Vision 2030 understands that health span is the GDP, right, for global citizens and for Saudi, right? Secondly, the infrastructure allows you to set up. It allows you to be, honestly, Waleed, it allows you to change yourself in the way that you want to be. I came here as a doctor, and I'm now a builder, right? And Saudi Arabia gives you that flexibility and empowers you, right? With Ikama Maeza, alhamdulillah, you have the opportunity to really extend and express yourself in ways you didn't think you could. Which other nation is giving you this opportunity? And thirdly, the population is ready, right? I know that the median age, right, the most common age group here is less than 30. So people are ready to listen and to change their habits.
Yeah.
And that's part of why I want to be here, because as I said, if I can change the habits of one or two people, that's a great KPI. But when we get to 1 or 2 million, and then their parents, and then their grandparents, that's when we've had a real impact. And, we talk about having moonshot goals. Only a few countries in the world can help you to achieve a moonshot goal. And that's why I quite firmly placed myself here.
I'm sorry,
right now.
what is it?
A moonshot is like something that's, it could be attainable, but you're not really sure if you're going to get there.
Okay,
and so this moonshot, Japan has a moonshot goal for longevity. And now through the actions of Evolution, KAUST, and other scientific institutions, there's an opportunity now for Saudi to be part of that moonshot. And I would just say as well, it's the people. And there are two elements to that.
Okay.
Firstly, I'll touch upon the gender issue as a woman on your podcast and on your show. I found that, actually in my team it's a joke because until very recently, all my team members were female. And I was slightly scared of them, to be honest, of my team, because they are real powerhouses. I have a team of women who are ambitious, who are hungry to achieve, and who, inshallah, will achieve. And I'm so proud that they are able to take steps to continue their education, to have continued postgraduate education. So for me, this is a great sort of emblem of where they are and where they want to go. And I see this across all the women I meet in the kingdom are continually on this trajectory of not just self-improvement, but improvement for the kingdom. So that's really. Just yesterday I met the lady in the reception in my building, and she told me with a lot of pride, and I was so happy for her that she'd been promoted. So everyone is working on their personal journey, especially women here. And secondly, there's a level of kindness and humility that I haven't experienced elsewhere in the world apart from here. And that I see every day in the people. And let me give you one example. With the Ikama Mumaeza, I was told I was the first female executive in the world to receive this. And this is an honor for me, of course. That wasn't possible without the efforts of one man in particular. His name is Mr. Abdullah Al-Majadi. And he was in the government relations with us at Evolution. He's now moved on to other bigger projects. Because of his kindness, his humility, his actions. I mean, he didn't know me from before. I'm a foreigner who's come to work in the kingdom, but he knew this was important to me. He knew he had the ability to help make it happen, and so he did. And so, because of someone else's kindness,
and you deserve it. Let's be honest. Also, it's.
Well, alhamdulillah, but it's the everyday acts of kindness that I see, or someone. I saw once someone on the street. He was driving and he saw an elderly gentleman was shopping, and I knew that he didn't know him, but he opened the car door And I think he said, come in, tal, tal. And then they drove off together.
Yeah.
You don't see that in London. It's
We
dangerous.
do-
It actually be dangerous.
We do that sometime, right? We're like, hey man, can I get a ride? That's my place right there. We do that. Wow, doctor, how's your community here? Are they like, like who do you gather with? How do you spend your day? Like, after work, you're like, are you obsessed with the fact that I gotta do this, so you do all your life along on that process, or sometimes you're like, you know what, I'm just living my life. Like, how does it work? This is very this like gets into my mind sometimes. Plus, I want to know your community, like your people. Who do you hang out with? They're like mostly local people, foreigners, doctors, right? Media personnel like myself who don't know nothing about longevity, etc., etc. I ask you two questions in one. So A, the obsession part, which is, I read a couple of books. They said that you got to be obsessed to really achieve or know or become. Second part is the community part.
Yeah. Well, inshallah, my ambition is to build a health span platform that everyone can use one day. And so that requires obsession on a daily, hourly basis.
So obsession is healthy.
Well, let me caveat with this.
Yeah.
So I'm always thinking about what I'm doing next to achieve this goal. Part of great health span and part of being, trying to achieve good longevity, as it were, is you've got to have maybe a combination of a few things. I would say mind, movement, and metabolism. So to your point about who I hang out with or how I kind of create that community space, a large part of the mind is actually having social connection and good social bonds. So for me, I try and do that by movement. So I'm lucky where I live in the financial district. There's a gym in my building. So many of my good friendships have come organically
Financial district,
by being in the gym. I met Yodi, who's been on your show, of course.
He's an awesome guy. Awesome.
Very awesome. Marra awesome.
And a New Yorker, but he's got like he's like a real New Yorker, like like
He's the best.
Bedouin,
Mashallah, he's the best.
a Bedouin New Yorker,
Wallah. So
And I appreciate him, by the way, for nominating you to this was so yeah.
Well, actually, I guess it was through my obsession about moving continually and going to the gym, but also needing a social connection. That's how I got to know Yodi, right? So that's what I would say is that my obsession has helped to fuel my social connections. Also, being with, I would say, other doctors is fun, but we sometimes end up talking too much like medical stuff, which it gets a bit too much sometimes, even for me.
Yeah.
I like being.
So could you have a friend like me? Could I be like your friend?
I would love if we could be friends.
A guy who does not, who's very clueless in the.
The honor it would be mine, really.
In the medical field, like, do you have like?
Do I have friends who are non-medics who?
Who are like.
Akid, taban, and those are actually the most enriching friendships. And I could think of a few friends who are Saudi, who have given me time, kindness, the love of friendship, and I've built really wonderful friendships with them. So that's been very nourishing for me. And I would say sometimes, as a foreigner, people want to maybe live, and I think either way is good. Want to live with other foreigners, maybe in a compound, which can be
I understand.
Which can be a really good way of living. But for me personally, I wanted to live. Well, firstly, my place of work was in the financial district, and I lived there too. But that's been a great way of connecting with other Saudi people as well. At the same time, I also get to know people at the British Embassy, and that's been very helpful in some ways to kind of make the bridges as well.
The previous ambassador, he also speaks great Arabic as well too. By the
yes,
way.
mashallah, I can hope to speak like him one day, inshallah.
Yeah. Most of my guests, or most people that I meet overseas, they speak about Saudi Arabia. Oh, you guys got Neom, the line, the boxing matches, the big events, the UFC events, all a lot of these things, which you describe them, but you describe them in a different dynamic way. Which why is it being done? Beside GTP, marketing economy, it's also healthy, and it will bring a better quality of life, I would say.
Absolutely.
As well too. You see a difference. Like, what kind of questions do you get when you're like you're in Saudi Arabia doing longevity? They're doing the line. They're doing boxing match. Do you get these kind of reactions?
Yes.
I'm sure life is not gonna always be positive. Oh, they're great, So, yeah.
Yeah. Well, for me, it just points to His Royal Highness the Crown Prince's vision, right? Because
You believe a lot into this vision.
he's realized that you can connect with people through sports, through giga projects,
Giga projects.
and this
Like today,
is always going to reconnect back to health. So I think he has been truly visionary in that way, because he's realized that you build for impact, for the wow factor. You build new infrastructure like Murabba or King Salman Park, or Red Sea, which are going to, by design, include spaces that help us to live longer, healthier lives. At the same time, when you think about sport, well, let's think about Ronaldo. I think now he's an ambassador, isn't he, for Whoop, right? Which is the wearable that is all about measuring your health and has a health span feature, if I'm not mistaken. So I think people do ask me, what do you think about boxing, or what do you think about the sport or golf? Well, I would say actually
the culture, or do women drive over there? Do women do this over there? I'm sure you get that
from my foreign friends.
Yeah.
Yes, a lot, and I think that makes me feel proud that I chose I got here in 2022. When at that time, people do want to sometimes think negatively, and I'm sure I know people were thinking, oh, why is she coming to Saudi Arabia? Maybe she can't find a job in London, or there's something not right about this. But alhamdulillah, I could see for myself that there's a transformation happening, and I wanted to be part of it. And now, if we could fast forward to 2025, nearly every other day in my LinkedIn mailbox or email, someone is asking me from that side of the world, how do I get a job here? Oh, could you connect me to so-and-so? So that tells me that, I was thinking in the right way at the right time.
Before I conclude this, there's a lot of questions about time, and اسمح لي آخر سؤال, one last question. I'm the boss, by the way. I decide that. I'm just kidding. You speak very, very deeply about the vision, and you describe. Obviously, you read about it. You're part of. You're part of it. You're part of the evolution that's happening. That evolution, and everything. And you mentioned the Crown Prince a couple of times. He's a very ambitious, visual, a leader, a dreamer. Speaks a lot. I would love to get your perspective on His Royal Highness the Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman.
2 words, maybe. Resilient and a visionary. He encompasses everything about health span, right? Which is that you need to have that investment in yourself, and not just for yourself, but also for your community and for your people. Because if we all follow the principles of health span and living longer, it's not just for us. I don't want to live longer for the sake of me living longer. I want to increase my impact and my sense of purpose. And he's resilient because the world is watching him, right? And everything that's going on here.
Yeah.
And the world is always putting a different lens every day. And yet he still shows up. I think, mashallah, I think he's always in his office.
Oh, yeah.
And he shows up and powers on. So
I just came. I was in the economy meeting too. So yeah.
Mashallah. So that's resilience. That's despite feeling the pressure, despite feeling the world's lens on you, but continuing to power on. That's resilience at a different level.
That's sometimes personally, I'm like, I got a dog in my house and I'm crazy, I'm like, it's right. I swear to God, truly, I said it on many interviews before in Arabic, but we truly do get, motivated and, inspired a lot, but not just his work ethics, but also his motive, his love,
Yes.
and what he wants to see Saudi Arabia. Let me ask you one last question. One last question. Look here. I mean, I'm sorry, I'm taking much of your time. Even a question that was prepared, to be honest, I just went, we went on and on. The conference said, I want this region to become the new Middle East. By that, there's a lot of things comes into this, obviously, not just longevity, but this is very important. Longevity will be very important, specifically if the kingdom becomes, I would say, one of the first or the pioneers leading it as well too. You think it's possible? Like, you think this could happen? Nearly?
أكيد طبعا إن شاء الله, and we have all the resources to do it right now. In fact, I do believe if you think of at many different levels, if you think about the, let's say, longevity economy, we're building a nation now that will have, inshallah, a workforce that is living longer and healthier. When we think about even the wellness and tourism economy, when we're building out, Saudi is now on the map for tourism, right? And we're going to get more and more people coming who will
exactly
also experience.
A lot of tourists are coming
Yes.
now, and it's a crazy number.
Can we create, products or services that are, you might come to the Red Sea or to Jeddah or to Taif and do a 1 week immersive experience in longevity, right?
Have you been to Al-Ula, Red Sea?
I've been to Al-Ula, I've been to Jeddah, and
What
been
do you
to
enjoy?
Abba.
What do you enjoy? I'm trying to ask all the questions really fast. Like what do you like? What do you enjoy? Like, do you like music, soccer matches, boxing fights? Like,
I love to get moving, and I love to see nature.
Oh,
So
okay.
for me, I went to Abba, I went to Jazan. This is
أبها جازان.
beautiful
مين هنا من
places.
أبها وجازان يا
Well,
شباب؟
the south is amazing. I love it. It's
Okay.
just so beautiful. And but going
You
to
like more nature than the modern. Yeah, I
well,
I
there's
get
something
it.
called neuroaesthetics, right? I'll just maybe end with this like one
Yeah,
word because
yeah.
I wish that our viewers and listeners might think about this. Neuroaesthetics is a concept where if you see something that is beautiful in the sense, not typical cosmetic beauty, I mean like nature or a piece of art, it's good for you. It's been scientifically proven by a professor called Samir Zeki in London that this is good for you. It's actually good for your longevity. So
Real
yes,
nature.
taking time out, maybe going for a walk, seeing something, or even urban architecture. Like again, I live in the financial district. There are many beautiful skyscrapers, right? Seeing something that makes you feel you are connecting, right? Be it a beach, a mountain, a soccer match, or something. But you are connecting with something that you perceive as beautiful. It's good for you. So I would just say to anyone who is listening and wants to think about that one step they could take to feel like they're on their longevity journey, go and look at that piece of art on your wall or in a book, or go and look outside at the view maybe and appreciate the view. It's good for you.
Doctor, it was a pleasure.
The pleasure was mine.
I really enjoyed our conversation. I think I exceeded the time limit, and usually I would do what I want, but I was late 2 hours. So no, I'm just kidding. I like to get around it. They enjoy it. My team, they enjoy it. But it was such an honor and a pleasure. I think the information that you're speaking about and your goal is very, very, very important. I'm not speaking about living longer. I'm speaking about the impact.
Exactly.
Yeah, so, what you're doing, may God bless you. And, I'm very honored as a Saudi citizen that you are here in the kingdom, supporting the cause. And I wish you all the best. And, since you said on the show, you can be my friend, then we'll keep in touch.
Inshallah. The honor
Inshallah.
has been mine. يعطيكم العافية.
Allah yafik. MashaAllah, tabarakallah. the viewers, thanks so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed, educated, inspired. This conversation, had so many different, various, I believe, also impacts and topics in it. So I'm sure it can go into many different ages, can listen to it, many different mindsets, doctors, normal individuals like myself. I hope you enjoy it. Thank you for watching again. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.